Bang. Needs Knives. I'm Jared, and we have pretty much like 6, maybe even 7, I guess you can count it. Depends on how you count it. But we got a few new knives that are brand new. We're going to check them out for the first time and do a first impressions. Now, this is a collaboration between CIVIVI and Blade HQ. This is called the HEADBANGER. So we have 2 versions of the HEADBANGER here. And I do got to say, because I've already messed around with these have a surprisingly really good feel to them. There's something I know it's got a heavy, long blade, so that just makes it complete guillotine action. But the thumb stud placement, the detent, the ergos, there's a lot going for this thing. Like the handle, it looks, you know, like it's like made for one hand or, you know, one person's hand. But man, I'll tell you what, it might be mine, because holy cow, is that comfortable. It's like they took something, like a piece of mold or like a piece of clay, and just squeezed it and said, yep, that's the shape. Because that's what it feels like. We have a blade in Nitro V steel, and the blade is somewhat of it has a little bit of poon action, and then it's got a straight clip point with a dual grind. So we have a hollow grind here, nice and slicey, nice deep hollow grind, and the flat grind that's up here in the nose for a little bit more stability is actually not super thick. Like it's, you know, it's still plenty slicey. Good edge on it. Access to the lock bar. They cut it back a little bit. Yeah, you got room. I always like more, but I mean, it's good. Definitely not a real negative. Clip is a titanium milled pocket clip. The clip seems like, you know, the regular CIVIVI pocket clip. It is a little bit short. These do work okay. Yeah, they work good. There's no issue with them. I typically want just a little bit longer just to get a little bit more spring, but these, you know, they're thin enough and have enough spring that they work out well. It is a reversible clip, TA hardware all the way around. Like I said, great access to that thumb stud. Insane action, really. These things are incredible as far as the action goes. So yeah, the only the choil is, you know, it's back here, so the plunge grind's good. I don't think there's any stop pins in the way. No, the plunge grind's good. You know, they got plenty of room for you to sharpen up. I usually want it to be a little bit deeper, but it's fine. You know, at least the end of the plunge grind is way back here. Like I said before, you know, it'd be awesome if there's just a little bit better access, but it's fine. Most people probably wouldn't even think of that because, you know, like I said, it's easy to disengage. I'm not struggling with it or anything like that. But yeah, it's unique enough. The one thing I'm going to say is some people might, the name suits it for sure. Some people might think it looks a little ugly. That's the one thing I think that could happen, is that people might think it's ugly. It is a long knife. Like if I, you know, look, you see how much distance you got. This is a very long knife, but it's a knife that could potentially be perfect for somebody. You know, somebody might have big hands. Somebody might like the long, somewhat slender knives. The big belly, you know, you can cut down on a flat surface really easily. The utility cuts, that's the downside for me. I like a low tip for utility cuts, and this being so long, you do have to raise your elbow pretty high to get to that clip. But all in all, very, very cool. Okay, so this next one is from Jack Wolf. This is the equal end, and we have on my version this polished bone. Yeah, polished bone. It seems like it's probably like a camel or a cow bone. I will put that on the screen which one it is. And then we have, and this is more of a budget friendly knife. The blade steel on this is 14C 28N. Love to see that. Beautiful spear point blade. I love these it's kind of like I call them a Spanish spear point, because it's a spear point with a low tip. You know, some people might call it just a drop point, but it's unique in a way, you know, where the tip is not center line with the blade. The top part does drop down a little bit farther, but that does make it better for utility cuts, but still leaves enough belly to cut down on a flat surface or to do anything you need to do with a belly. It does have stainless steel bolsters, and the pull, looking at it, I would think it was too tight because it looks too tight. It looks like it's something that I would not, because I like the blade to be out. I want to just grip it and rip it. But I will say that this edge, you know, even though it's on one side, it has enough catch to it. I don't have to use my nail. I can just pinch it and pull it, especially if you go out towards the nose. But even if I do it up here, it's relatively easy to get to. Nice snap. It is more of a softer snap than some of the other Jack Wolfs that have like that real clicky snap, but that's because of the materials. This is more of a budget-friendly one. Those other ones are a lot more premium. Beautiful satin finish. Good size, you know, for a slip joint. It does not come with a sheath. However, you know, you can easily get one because he does sell sheaths on his site. So yeah, this is pretty cool. Plunge grind, looks decent. Yeah, pretty damn cool. The one thing, you know, is, you know, I personally would love, you know, I can't even complain about it. Yeah, no, it's good. This is a good one. Especially for a budget, you know, a budget slip joint. Now, these next ones are budget versions, and we have two of them of, well, it's crazy because there's the aluminum one, and this one's in, what is it, Nitro V. Then we have the titanium one in M390. And then we also have the DLC full Zircotite one, which is also an M390 in DLC. These things are so badass. I like this model. It's one of my favorite models from O-Knife. So one of the reasons why I like this model so much is because it's so slim and sleek while having one, very snappy action, great access to the lock bar, and it's got this long, slender blade that is just super useful to me. You know, it's kind of, I don't want to say letter opener, but you know, like a glorified letter opener in some ways. This is great for getting into seams of boxes. With the handle, you have a lot of control. It's neutral, right? It's going to work in everybody's hand in any grip. Doesn't matter what the grip is. So it's something that's super versatile. While it doesn't have multiple deployments or anything, the blade steel on this is 14C 28N, so it's going to be very similar to the aluminum one in Nitro V. That one does feel a little bit more premium, considering that it does have the aluminum handle, but these still feel really good and have a nice sound to them. Nice thwack. Deep carry clip wraps all the way around, so you can reverse it if you want. It does come with extra hardware in the box. I have not oiled these or anything, but they are very, very smooth. My one complaint on these is the plunge grind. I think, yeah, they're all like that, where they put the plunge grind hitting the edge. I'd prefer it to not do that and just, you know, cut a choil all the way like to there or something so that there's room to sharpen without hitting the plunge grind. Not that big of a deal. Still is one of my favorites from O-Knife. They have one other model that I like probably a little bit more, but that's hard to say because I like them both. So let's get to the next one. The next one is from CJRB. Now, we've seen a lot of these. We'll get through this one pretty quick because, man, it seems like every company's coming out with their version of a little, you know, disposable razor blade. So this did come with extra blades. In fact, it didn't even come with a blade in it. I had to open this up and put blades in it. So that's awesome. It comes with a bunch of extra blades. And, you know, these blades are very thin, very slicey. Obviously a low edge angle on a razor blade. That's why the bevel's so big. And then they always put a micro bevel to add a little bit of toughness. But the handle's nice G10. It is a button lock, but I will say, man, rock solid, absolutely rock solid. And I think CJRB's just, they've gotten a lot better at their button locks. We have a deep carry clip that is reversible, TA hardware all the way around, great thumb stud action. It is very fidget friendly, while also having a replaceable blade. So if you do a lot with your knife and some, you know, a lot of times you just do not want to destroy your edge on whatever you do have to cut, that's when a replaceable razor blade comes in handy. You know, if you have to cut something on concrete, cut something across aluminum or cut aluminum or something like that, that's when these things are going to be the best. Now, this next one is from TRIVISA, and This might be my new favorite TRIVISA right now. Holy cow, I'm liking this one. So the name of this one is the GECKO, and I got the white G10 one. We have a beautiful drop point blade with, I can't tell, is this a hollow? I can't even tell. That's interesting. It feels, no, maybe not. It feels almost like a hollow. It gets down so thin behind the edge. Really good geometry. Move this stuff. Great action. The whole deployment lands in like the perfect spot for this knife, where like you're getting the most amount of leverage. For reverse or thumb flick, both of them work equally as well. Then you have the front flipper, which looks low, but works great. Like really, really good. I can use it in every way you use a front flipper easily. The jimping's really good. I usually prefer the jimping to go up and all the way around, so that would have been cool if there was just a jimp right there on top, but it's not a deal breaker at all because it works great. The blade steel, like we said, 14C, 28N, nice thin geometry, so, you know, perfect for what 14C was designed for. You know, it's got great corrosion resistance, amazing toughness, which is why it does good with the super thin geometry, and it has good edge retention. Then we have TA hardware all the way around and a reversible wire clip that's deep carry. G10 backspacer with a little hidden lanyard post back there. Like I said, good access to the lock bar. A little texture would have been cool right there. But all in all, man, very ergonomic, great size, great shape, good looking knife. Comes in a few different colors. This is gonna be great right or left hand. Obviously, I'm sitting here flipping it right now left-handed. Nice little profile, a little wide, but I think most people's pockets, you know, are going to be just fine with something like this. So yeah, this is a cool one. TRIVISA, you killed it on that one. Now, we have one more from TRIVISA, but this one is a fixed blade, but look at this fixed blade. It reminds me of a Nessmuk, and I'm sure a few of you are, it's going to remind you of that too, and maybe it is, but wow. I'm not sure, because I've tried a few Nessmuks. This to me is like really cool. I like this a lot. I love how the tip spears out right here. So you got a tip that you can puncture or you do utility cuts with, but you have belly to cut down on a surface or to, you know, skin or whatever you want to do with it. This is a fixed blade. This would be a great skinner. A great light duty outdoors knife. Very good ergonomics. I mean, talking about like really, really good. The handle is not super thick, but it is contoured, so it fills the hand great while not being too thin or too thick. You can feel the blade is nice and slicey, so that's why I'm saying it's not like a heavy duty outdoors knife, but for anything you're gonna use a knife for that's cutting related, this is great. 14C 28N, nice tough steel, and we got the, you know, the brown full tang blade and hardware to match. We got a brass tube right there for a lanyard with a Kydex sheath. The click could be a little bit better. There is a little bit of rattle in tap, but it's not horrible. Like, it's not going to fall out or anything. You do have a push-off point. And then you do have a belt attachment right there that makes it real easy to take on and off, and you can move it around, you know, change it whatever direction you want, like if you wanted it scout carry or whatever. So my only complaint right now on this thing is just, I wish the sheath was a little bit clickier, but it's also not something that I'm super mad at, and I wonder if I took this screw and moved it up to here and tightened it, if it would get even better, because that's what it feels like. It feels like that's what it is. Let me just squeeze this. Oh yeah, yeah. So if I even squeeze right here, yeah. So that's all I gotta do. I just gotta move that up. Let's just do it real quick. Oh, that would be simple enough if that's all I had to do, right? Bang. Oh yeah. Oh shit, man. No rattle. We fixed it. Very cool. I actually like that they did that. Like they have that there, because I could even go tighter with this. Yeah, man, this is pretty cool. I like it. I like it quite a bit. What's the name of it? I didn't even look at that. This is Well, that's a weird way to spell my card. This is the aubergine. The aubergine. Aubergine. There you guys go. Work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.